is the boogeyman we've always heard about.
All we do is protect people like us sitting around the table. That's who gets protected.
But you know the argument they make that they'll just have fewer jobs.
That's an argument they'll make. And that we know that they have the money to pay workers a living wage. If you pay your workers, we're not going to sit on our money. We'll put it back into the economy.
The top companies in the fast food industry made combined profits of $6.6 billion in 2015. While one study shows 52% of all their employees are getting some form of public assistance. Is this a way taxpayers are subsidizing the industry?
Nobody wants to get food stamps. I want to go in and pull out my cash and buy my food and have insurance through my job.
And again, he says, a little more makes so much difference.
To go see a movie. I haven't been to the movie since The Matrix. And I don't know if you know how old that movie is. This is our stop.
And there's another changing face of low-wage workers in America. 60% of those who make less than $10 an hour are now women, like Kim Thomas, who works up to 120 hours a week in home health care. And because so many of these women and other low-wage workers have families of their own to support, we found a new growth industry in America.
Mama.
Overnight childcare.
We have like about 50 children sometime at night. Most of our parents work at Walmart. They work at fast foods. They work at the warehouses. They work at hospitals. And they also work cleaning buildings at night.
This single mother works an overnight shift at Taco Bell.
Get away down, babe. I'm sorry.
We asked McDonald's for a comment tonight, and they emailed us saying their independent franchises make their own decisions about wages and throwing away food. They also wrote us that they offer their workers world-class training to help them learn, grow, and succeed every day. As of tonight, we have not heard back from Burger King. But before we leave this subject, we want to show you something surprising we learned on another stop in the Midwest. We found some low-wage workers in some very surprising places. College professors. We stopped by the campus of Washington University. Tuition's nearly $49,000 a year. Eric and Dustin are adjunct professors teaching a heavy load and paid, they say, at rates that don't add up to a living income.
And is that enough for you to build a future on here?
No. I mean, it's not enough to build a present on.
One study shows a quarter of part-time college professors are paid so little they're on public assistance.
Oh, we have friends on food stamps. We have friends
teaching here.
Teaching multiple classes. The taxpayers subsidize what our employer won't.
We asked Washington University for a comment. They told us after our visit a year and a half ago, they reached a new agreement with the union representing the adjuncts. They say they pay part-time professors more than most universities, and many of the professors have other jobs.
I love my job, but this is unsustainable. I can't afford to teach anymore.
Next, those golden companies with the golden workers. Do they see the people in the shadows who get them to the office?
There has always been income inequality in America, but as we said, today it's more extreme. Take Silicon Valley, the high-tech companies with the golden names, where employees get free food, any kind, as much as they want, free dry cleaning, gyms on site, and right there, all around them, thousands of other people also working very hard in the shadows. There, amid all the wealth, we heard about the drivers of employee shuttle buses. When we began our report, we found drivers sleeping in the parking lot. They go to work at 6 in the morning. They have to wait for hours without pay in the middle of the day until they take employees home, napping in their cars at a depot with portable toilets.
3 outhouses out there, which it's not even suitable for a woman. If I was a woman, I would never use it, but a man, it's a different situation if you're just doing number one.
35 to 40 bus drivers are here. People are sleeping all over here on their cars. It's just awful when you park inside and you have drivers covering their cars with blankets and towels.
It's 2 beds for women, 2 beds for men. That's not enough. You've seen how many buses just came through here.
These drivers are what's called contract employees, working for companies who provide them to the high-tech industry. When we met them, they had few benefits, little vacation, no paid holidays.
My name is Terrence Rawlins. I'm a driver. I love my job. My age is 51. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I make it home about 11, 10 o'clock at night. I have to take care of my family.
If people have to migrate like the Grapes of Wrath, if people have to migrate a great distance to find work and comfort, then there's an issue here.
At that time, one of the drivers ferrying Apple employees to their campus was Scott Peebles. He was trying to save money for a rental apartment someplace nearby, but at the time was living in his car using an inflatable mattress.
I have the air pump right here, and I just turn the ignition switch on to accessory, and then I would pump up the, it always needs air. I have my blanket here in case it gets cold. And I put the visor in the front so it blocks out some of the light. I mean, if people would know this, if corporations or the businesses that they work for, there would probably be aghast that their employees were living in a car or van.
Antonio Garcia Martinez on his 35-foot sailboat. He used to be one of those high-paid tech employees and wrote a kind of confession about that time, remembering how he used to see the service workers.
The Silicon Valley elite basically doesn't see service workers. They're just basically blind to them as a class.
I take off my glasses so I don't lose them, and then I just into the bed, cover on, and then I just close this door and say goodnight.
And it's not just drivers. A lot of service workers worked for contract companies, like the security guards greeting people every day as people come into the high-tech offices.
We're more or less the company's ambassador. So we're welcoming all their customers. We treat the employees well.
For years, Michael Johnson was a security guard at several companies, says in the beginning his job had value.
When I first started, there were paid vacations, paid holidays. A lot of times you got bonuses. It was like a regular job. It's just that you were a contract worker. You were treated like one of the gang.
But now?
No more vacation, and then no more paid sick time. The hourly rate was dropping.
And because these are contract employees, do the people who work in the high-tech buildings know?
Oh, I'm sure they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't.
Do you think they care?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they do.
The service worker is just a cog in the machine, a replaceable cog in the machine, who keeps some small element of that machine going, but who really isn't part of sort of the cult or the dream or the vision of that company.
We saw the parallel lives. Near luxury houses, trailers parked in the streets. Service employees living so differently from the people they serve. Irma Alvarado, a legal resident, working in this country for decades.
Hi, I'm Diane. It's very nice to meet you. Are you Irma?
Yeah,
Oh,
Irma.
it's so nice to see you.
Irma, 62, is a contract employee who has spent 26 years cleaning restrooms and offices at Visa. She says for the first time ever in the last couple of years, she got a Visa gift card at Christmas for $25.
$25
Yeah.
after 26 years? You're smiling. Is that how you feel?
No.
Irma's grandson, who has no place to put his clothes in their crowded house, tells us his American dream.
I will have a big bed, and I will have a drawer to put all my clothes.
You'd like to have a drawer? Just one drawer? How many drawers? 10 drawers.
Our experts say companies can cut costs by using contract employees. If anything, the practice is growing. The challenge? How to grow together.
One of the problems with this is in each link down that chain, the pressures grow to lower labor costs.
I'm confident that our economy will grow. The question is, will it yield an America with shared prosperity?
And a moment for a footnote from our travels. We ran into a mother and daughter who cleaned the bathrooms at the Detroit airport.
This is Linda. I see people living where they get the money from.
They told us they too would like to send a message. And it's not about money, it's about something simple.
We go into restrooms and we clean them. We have to clean toilets. We have to wipe down stainless steel. And no one even says thank you.
A lot has changed since we first reported from that parking lot in Silicon Valley. The bus drivers voted to unionize. There was publicity about low wages and few benefits. So Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg responded and took action. She said all Facebook's contract employees should have higher salaries and 15 days of paid time off. And Apple and Google followed her lead. Those drivers we've met in the parking lot say it's made a huge difference. You'll remember Scott Peebles, the man who was living in his car. He's now rented an apartment.
When we return, donating blood plasma just to buy his daughter a birthday present. Next. Once again, Diane Sawyer with My Reality, A Hidden America.
As we traveled across America, we wondered about some people we saw in the shadows of the morning. Every day, 97,000 people will begin to take their place in a line, waiting to have a needle put in their arms for up to 2 hours. This is a transaction for money. There are 500 plasma centers in the U.S., and almost all are foreign-owned. They extract plasma from this blood to make drugs that help treat leukemia and for transplant patients. And these companies have turned the United States into what has been called the OPEC of plasma, American donors providing 94% of the paid plasma used around the world. They are a kind of branded army, not of addicts, but people, including full-time workers who are just unable to make ends meet.
I donate specifically for the money because I work a minimum wage job as a cashier and a stocker.
Basically, it's for bills, make ends meet.
These donors are paid about $30 to $40 each visit. It is a $19.7 billion industry and growing.
Do you work part-time or full-time?
Full-time. I'm married with 2 kids, so anything you can do for a little bit of extra cash.
Donating is easier than you might think. Simply relax, watch TV, or enjoy our free Wi-Fi in a clean and friendly environment.
I use Friday, Monday I use Sunday. I switch up every time, and it's a 21 gauge needle, so it's pretty thick.
When we first meet a donor named William Harris, he works full-time at Burger King. Some nights when the shelter is full, he sleeps in a storage closet. His room is a chair, surrounded by spiders. By his side, a well-read self-help book about success, how you get ahead in America.
I love that book.
And you still believe that hard work is going to get you there?
Yes. No other way.
So why is it that these foreign companies recruit their donors in the United States? We learned that most of their home countries have banned the practice of paying money for plasma. There's one more person we met walking to give plasma twice a week. His name is Gaylord Cade.
They're actually helping somebody else out too here.
When we meet him, he's working 2 jobs, one at a grocery, one in fast food. But says he's donating because his daughter has a birthday. He needs $7.50 to buy a bathing suit and money for a cake. He doesn't want his kids to know how he's getting it.
I try to take off my bandage before I get home.
We went to the apartment unit he's renting. We met his 6-year-old son, Eric, who tells us how he feels about the dad working so hard to support their family.
A giant plane that, like, with the giant head is all the way to outer space and in heaven and past heaven. And giant. I'm trying to say a lot. And Daddy working on getting a car.
Gaylord, who has had a tough life growing up, says he knows there are a lot of people who have a lot more than he does.
You work 40 hours a week, right? You probably work more than that, right?
I work a lot.
Right.
I work a lot.
You work a lot.
You work hard too.
Right. And you're American, I'm American. We both work hard, and the difference is, I imagine you can take care of yourself pretty good, and probably your grandkids and things like that sort too.
Gaylord says he doesn't resent other people's good fortune. He just wonders if anyone sees the struggle all around him.
I'm grateful for any and everything that God sends my way. However,
People pass you by, they don't know what you're going through, but there's poverty. There's a lot of poverty around here.
The kind that leads a dad to give his blood for his daughter's birthday smile.
You like it, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, how old are you today?
17.
You ready to go swimming?
Yeah.
Last November, a group called Just Capital announced a bold idea. They were going to rank companies not by profits, but other qualities. They polled Americans about which qualities they admired the most in a business, and up came leadership, worker safety, but number one on the list, paying a fair wage.
$2.5 billion.
Billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Jones started Just Capital, and he thinks American consumers are ready to spend their money on companies they most admire.
The people who run corporate America today, they're generally good people. They're good family people. I think they'll welcome a little bit of a shifting of what priorities should be back to core American values that come from Main Street.
And all over the country, there are business leaders saying it's time to bring new ideas to American workers and their wages. The well-known burger joint that gives employees stock options. Some companies help pay off college loans. And some of the most exciting ideas are rethinking education and giving workers a path to the future. BMW in South Carolina trying to create a school-to-job highway. The company created a program to train people in mechanics, robotics, and so far, every graduate got a job at BMW with the prospect of salaries up to $90,000. And this is a man named Mark Bertolini, who has ideas of his own. He's the son of an auto worker, successful CEO of a Goliath company, Aetna Healthcare, 49,000 employees. Bertolini says it all has to begin with corporate leaders who want to learn the lives of their workers.
Where do they live and what are their lives like? And it took me 6 months to get that data, but once I got the data, I was embarrassed.
He says when he became CEO, he was surprised to discover that some of his full-time employees were paid so little, they had to go on public assistance.
I said, how can we let this happen? Here we are, a major Fortune 50 company with employees who are suffering every day to make ends meet.
So Aetna raised salaries to at least $16 an hour. They're helping workers pay down college debts. Bertolini even pays workers to sleep more at night. And he vowed not to pass any of these costs on to the Aetna consumer.
You know, our stock price is up. You know, we haven't lost a step, but we've spent millions of dollars doing this.
I don't understand if it's obviously a great investment, if it's your stock price is still going to go up. Mm-hmm. You would think it would be obvious that everyone would be doing it, but they are not. Why are they not?
You need to change the dialogue from...
A dialogue, he says, that creates a new measure of success.
18% of the American public actually believes corporations are good. 18%. So, you know, how much lower do we need to go before we figure out this doesn't work? And so instead of waiting for it to go away, why don't we step forward with some courage and conviction to make it better?
A new capitalism.
Yeah, let's reinvent it. I mean, we're the captains of it. Why shouldn't we be the ones that say, here's the new way? Let's us as a group of people stand for something and say, we're going to do something about this.
And Bertolini says if there are CEOs in America who don't know where to start, just give him a call. And as we said, in 7 days, we will have a new president who has promised better wages and jobs. And we're going to be following some of the people you met tonight for the next year. A few other notes. Chris, the firefighter, got a new pair of shoes for Christmas. Marisha now has a full-time job as a personal assistant. William has a warehouse job, a place to live, but he's still getting money for donating blood plasma. And finally, that fast food worker and activist Terrence, well, several months after we met him, there he was at the White House. He'd been asked to speak on behalf of low-wage workers. I'm Diane Sawyer. Thank you so much for watching tonight.